This episode is brought to you by DirecTV Stream. Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on demand, which means you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. So whether you want to catch the game live or watch the latest blockbuster, they've got you covered. And there's no annual contract. DirecTV Stream. Get your TV together at directtv.com. Requires high-speed internet and compatible device. Content varies by package and location. Restrictions apply.
Hey everyone, before we get into the episode today, we just want to tell you that we also have a Patreon episode this week. We're going to be listening to some of your voicemails and we're going to be answering some of your questions. So enjoy episode 7. And if you want to hear our Patreon this week, go over to patreon.com/the Bradshaw Boys and we will be answering your phone questions. Right, guys?
Kevin, what are you going to do with all the money you get from Patreon?
Cocaine.
All right, enjoy the episode.
You're now listening to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where 3 relatively grown men binge the iconic HBO series Sex and the City. So dust off those DVDs and grab yourself a white wine or even a Cosmopolitan and settle in. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to the Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where 3 guys are watching and just like that. And just like that, I'm Cory Cavin.
I'm Kevin James Doyle.
My name is Jon Sieber.
Wow. We're back for another one.
Here we are.
Every week we're doing this.
Let's chat it up.
Oh, what are they going to say about the episode? People are just chomping at the bit to know.
Who?
What we think. Mm-hmm. Well, we don't know. We're just checking in.
Yeah, we need to see what the girls are up to, what Jay's up to, see what Seema's going on with Seema.
Yeah, hanging out with Seema. Yeah.
I'm pretty excited.
What Mr. Big is up to.
Are you all excited to like what's the general let's do a vibe check in.
Worms got into the
Mr. Big is
Worms?
Yeah, into the
casket?
Into the casket.
No,
yeah.
He's got the sarcophagus.
He got cremated. He's got cremated.
Have Worms got into the I don't know what Carrie's doing with the fucking...
Carrie's got...
She's got bed bugs in that box for sure.
She's got a bunch of bed bugs in his ashes.
Yeah.
Do you think in her old apartment, do you think Carrie's old apartment had bed bugs?
100%.
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter how rich you are in New York. You can get bed bugs.
And you do.
And you do.
You know, Mr. Big is so used to being rich that even as ashes, he's like, oh, I'm in this piece of shit one bedroom with my ex-wife. Oh, I'm not used to this trashy living.
I'd usually get Raoul to pick me up at 5 a.m. and go home.
Yeah, I don't want to sleep there.
She pushed for him to buy a brownstone, and he's just like, "Are you kidding?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, absolutely.
And not have a doorman? Who's gonna get me my cab?
Yeah,
that is.
Who's gonna have an oversized luggage rack with clothing draped over it? I feel like that's what all doormen have, right?
Oh yeah, like a bellman's cart.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. I've interacted with a decent amount of rich people in New York, like the Mr. Big level rich.
Yeah.
None of them have townhouses. None of them. They all have fucking co-ops.
They have houses.
Yeah.
But in Boca, in Florida, in Hamptons, in Vale.
They're like, why would I take responsibility for structural issues?
Why would I have to take out my own trash?
Exactly.
That's what you have to do when you have a brownstone. You have to take out your own trash.
You do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even if you live in
Tuesday and Friday, trash day.
See, there you go. I lived in a brownstone for a while and I had to do the trash.
Yeah.
And now I live in a normal building. And my super does the trash because they own whoever owns the building does the trash.
You don't think about that shit when you're buying a house. And then all of a sudden you're lugging your trash out every Tuesday like an idiot.
Yeah. I got a new super and the new super was like, man, your last super sucked. And I was like, I was thinking that for 8 years. I don't know, when you guys walked in my building, if you noticed that it smells a little better because he puts out little smelly things.
It does smell a little better.
Oh, really?
The door's working.
Yeah.
Do you think in Mr. Big's really luxury apartment they put out smelly things?
Yeah. His is just a cigar lounge. One time, this may be too long of a story for the pod, but I'm going to share it anyway. One time, I was at TJ Maxx and we got a disc, the clearance aisle in TJ Maxx?
Of course.
They had body spray called Cigar Lounge and they had like 4 or 5 of them. So we bought them all. And then every single day when my roommate would leave, we'd spray just this faint cigar lounge. And then the next day we'd do 2 until eventually like 3 or 4 weeks later, we were just covering his room in Cigar Lounge. and he didn't know that it was him that always smelled like Cigar Lounge.
Oh my god.
What does Cigar Lounge smell like? Is it just
Mr. Big?
It smells like Mr. Big.
It smells like Mr. Big.
It just smells
one day
like...
we were out to dinner. He's like, he was eating a lobster and he's just like, I gotta say it. Someone in this place just wears too damn much cologne. And we were just like, it's you, man.
It's you, buddy.
Cigar Lounge.
It's you.
I did see a pretty speaking of Cigar Lounge, I did see a pretty depressing, because that's what I think of with cigar lounges, a pretty depressing article because I was like, we got to keep up on the news of the pod. And it was just like, it's like so depressing but sad that it's funny. It was just like, I feel really bad now because it just said like, Chris Noth thinks his life is over. It's just like, there's nothing new. Like, I think his friends think he's gonna kill himself.
Oh no,
that's true. No, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing.
You're laughing because you're uncomfortable.
I'm laughing because I'm uncomfortable.
It's funny because you were like, we were there with you. We kept staring at you.
I know.
I didn't know what
I was like, I should have been.
I didn't know what you were going to say.
I don't
And
know
then you
where
went
this is going.
really dark on a lot of different levels.
But I was laughing because of how dark it was. I was trying to separate the character from the
classic Kevin.
Is this the surprise that you had for us before we started recording? Because you were like, I got a surprise for you.
Right before we started recording,
Oh,
Kevin's
my
like, I got this great surprise.
Oh,
and then
man.
Cory said, I'm so hot in this sweater.
I did.
I'll wait till I get too hot to take it off.
I did say
Just
that.
take it off now, man.
I can't. I'm running the controls
That's
for the
true.
audio. It
You got our
actually
soundboard.
The last audio might be a little hot because I was a little hot.
That's
so
fine.
If you guys heard if y'all heard something sound really modulated, it was me sweating in a wool sweater.
Listen, it was just on page 6.
This is called.
It's sad.
What does the headline say?
It just says, oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
And just like that, Chris Noth feels like his life is over as a fifth woman accused him. I mean,
It's actually on Showbiz cheat sheet.
Well,
Listen,
I got picked up from page 6.
If you're sexually assaulting women, you should be buried under the prison.
Well,
so.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I was laughing. It's sad for everyone involved.
Yeah.
It's the other thing about
except for him.
Yeah.
It's not sad for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think his wife has just gave the wedding ring back. I think she's going to leave him.
It's sad for her.
Yeah, it's sad for her.
That is sad for her. The picture on that article, if we can just stay on this topic longer, the picture on that article is him holding a tequila bottle and holding a microphone and looking really unshaven. But the funny thing is, when they take those pictures, that was taken at probably like a moment of good things in his life when people were like, man, he looks rough.
Yeah.
And someone just saving that picture for like, we're going to look for the worst moment of this person's life. Just put this up.
That's brutal.
Even though
to
they
think.
looked rough.
Wait, how do you
if you ever get famous, just think someone is sitting on a stash of just pictures of you looking like shit.
I know,
totally.
I know the picture that would get used from me. I bet you both can name it.
The one at your 40th birthday?
No, not that one.
The gray door?
Oh, not that one. That one's where it's just like Cory Cavin has left the building and I've disappeared from the earth.
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
That's that
Is
one.
it the Hamptons when he fell into the planter?
Where I sat into the planter in protest.
And when people walk by, he's like, "How's your fucking bench?" To just random rich people in the Hamptons. It was actually great. It was like a protest to that.
Yeah,
it was.
That
it's
shitty
so funny
place.
because you're the most opposite of "Do you even lift, bro?" guy. And so when you get drunk and do that, it's really perfect.
Listen, this is so. There's always a lot of conversations happening on our Instagram.
Yes.
Like actually pretty intense.
Especially lately.
Lately, especially there was someone that was just like, today there's a really funny one because there was just someone just giving all the reasons why they hate Che. And then someone's just like, it doesn't matter that the character sucks. It is not a her. It's a they. There's just all these people talking about how fucking horrible Che Diaz is, but making sure people get the pronouns right. It was.
That's perfect.
I was just like, man, it'd be so funny if there was just one person to be like, I like the character. No one.
I like Jay.
Yeah. But a lot of just really intense conversations about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were with Chris Noth were talking about due process.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, how do you think that argument would go over if Chris Noth's wife is like leaving him? He's like, but what about due process?
Oh man.
Okay.
Faithful until proven guilty.
What happened to what happened to the fucking Constitution? And she's like driving away.
Oh god.
Jeez.
Okay. Listen, that's just I had to take a break from the Instagram because things are everything I post, people are just like, And people were like, "Why do you hate the show?" I'm like, every review we've given it, I feel like we've liked
positive
stuff.
stars.
I think the worst we've given it was last time you both rated it in the 2s, but I rated it in the 4s.
Yeah.
And so that would be called a mixed review.
There's episodes of season 5, Sex and the City, that we rated that.
Absolutely.
It's completely normal.
Yeah, totally.
I know someone was like, you guys are haters. I was like,
we're the opposite of haters.
I was like, we're everything that you would hope for.
We're appreciators.
Yeah. First of all, we're watching the show. We're investing a lot
That's
of time.
why you should like us.
Yeah.
Because we're watching the show.
First of all,
absolutely.
We're watching the show. Bare minimum, okay? You need us, HBO Max. But
we're 3 of your subscribers on 1 password.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. Apparently, you don't want my $15 a month for the 7 people using my account.
Exactly.
I guess I'll delete this and borrow it from someone else. No, but I was thinking about, I was like, do I like this show? I was like, I feel like we've all really.
Yeah. That's what I want to do, is like a tone check. Like, where are we at? Are you all excited to watch the episode tonight?
Yeah.
Are you feeling pumped about it?
I am. Because I am feeling pumped because I thought about last episode and I went really high on it. And then I thought about those white space dreams.
You gave it a Chadia score. You got a really high score.
Exactly. Exactly.
The Miranda getting fingered in the Matrix
yeah,
scene?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But so now I really want to go back and see what happens after all that.
Yeah.
I will say, if there is another Miranda getting fingered in the Matrix in this episode tonight, what do we quit the pod?
Yeah.
It's just over. Just wrap it up.
Yeah, but not in an angry way. In a way that's just like,
It's just
you know what? This is too much. Like,
we can't talk about this anymore.
Yeah, we can't talk about this anymore. Or just the next week, you guys come back and they're like, "Oh, that's what the episode should have been called. Touched by an Angel."
Oh my gosh, that would have been great.
Touched by an Angel.
I was going to touched by a changel.
This all came about because I was like, what if we just stopped Sex in the City and just started watching Touched by an Angel without ever acknowledging anything?
Oh, but how good would Touched by a Changel be?
Touched by a Changel.
And that's it's like Touched by an Angel. Wait, in Touched by an Angel, did they?
I don't know.
Because I know
you're looking at me. I don't know.
I know Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap was they leapt into other people. He leapt into other people's lives to save them.
Touched by an Angel is Roma Downey, who has red hair and was hot,
and Michael Landon, right?
No.
It's not Michael Landon.
That is not the Waltons, but it's Home on the Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie.
No, but wasn't Michael Landon? Okay.
Della Reese is in
Touched by an Angel, yeah.
And I also always loved the Notorious B.I.G. line is something about my piece. I'm obese like Della Reese. And I always felt bad for Della Reese.
Who said that? Who sang that?
Notorious B.I.G.
Notorious B.I.G.
But and Della Reese and Roma Downey are angels, and they go into people's lives, and it's kind of like a Christian TV show, but it was on a regular night. We watched it growing up, and I'm not ashamed to say that I got a bone ski for Roma Downey growing up.
John Dye was also in it.
Okay, but that'd be fun if that happens. Then we just immediately switch to Touched by an Angel.
Touched by a Changel.
Touched by a Changel.
What's your heat check?
I'm excited. That's the thing, is like, I may have given some of the episodes 5s, some 4s, some 2.5s, but like, I'm genuinely excited to watch the show and to talk about it with you dudes.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
One of the things I think about this whole experience, starting from like day one, was, first of all, look how fucking hot Roma Downey is, dude. She's such a babe. She should have been on fucking Sex and the City, but I think she's a Trump supporter, so I don't think they would have had her on.
They should have had her on as the Trump supporting friend to really spice up the lunches.
I mean, honestly, if the show wanted to, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Instead, you really think 4 rich Manhattanites, not one single one is going to have a fucking contrarian opinion.
You know where Carrie,
especially how rich they are.
Yeah, where Carrie records the podcast. It looks like whenever they shoot it, it looks like it's in Midtown, right across from Rockefeller Center. Right by there is the Fox News building.
Yeah,
I mean, what if they just do it and then the fourth one's Roma Downey splits off into Fox News? It was like, well, I gotta go do my podcast. Okay, Hannity's calling.
Yeah, it would be funny if like one of them left their phone unlocked, like Harry or something, like leaves their phone unlocked and like they're like, sweetheart, yeah, why are you sending articles from Breitbart? He's like, hold on. I just think wokeness has gone a little too crazy. But no, yeah, I think watching.
Your first of all was how hot Rona Downey was. What's the second of all?
The second of all was that watching a television show, no matter how you feel about it, once you're watching it with other people and other opinions, that changes your opinion of the experience. Because your score, like last week, my score went up because I thought about what you brought to the table and I didn't know about it until you gave your score. And then I thought about your criticism and your thoughts about it throughout the week. So that's why I like this. Also, the show's coming out as it comes. So listen, if we don't fucking like it, we're just giving our honest opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that if we watch this show in 20 years, like we did with the original one, we may think very differently about it.
Totally.
You know?
I would feel very differently about my life if we're doing this in 20 years.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
So I gotta take Mickey to college. Dude, we got a podcast. We have a Patreon episode we have to do.
I feel like that half the time now.
Yeah.
When you're like, I got to put Mickey down. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me make something else for the soundboard.
Yeah.
I don't own any equity.
You just got shade.
Dude,
all right, we're going to go watch the episode and go sign up for our Patreon because you get extra episodes.
We got a lot of shit on there.
Episodes.
We got a lot of shit on our Patreon.
A lot of
We've been diligent little boys uploading stuff to our Patreon.
Yeah, 64 exclusive episodes.
Yeah. That's a lot.
We got a new boots on the ground there. Went to Candace Bushnell's
BMG
show. Diwali's up there.
Yeah, Diwali's up there. We got a bunch of them. We got a bunch of fanfic episodes where we write some SATC fanfic.
Those are my fave.
And next week, and just like that, is going to be on our Patreon as well. So if you want to hear next week's breakdown of And Just Like That, sign up for our Patreon. We're at 90 right now. And if we get to 150 by the end of Just Like That, I'll I don't know, shave my balls or something.
What?
Why don't you
I'll text Roma Downey.
Get Roma Downey to send you a cameo. Let's do that. We'll get Roma Downey to send you a cameo if you get that. Let's do it.
Should we
Let's watch.
Let's watch the app.
Yeah.
Lady, read that stuff.
Episode 7, Sex and the Widow. Carrie's publisher tasks her with injecting some hope into her new book. Miranda attempts to rekindle a spark with Steve, and Charlotte bristles when Harry imposes on her sacred space, tennis. And now, back to the boys.
Corey, I got a question.
Tell me.
Do you ever feel like Carrie Bradshaw and a deadline? You're stressed. You're not sure what to do.
Oh my gosh.
You're a little bit agitated. I got a solution for you, actually.
What is it?
You know me. I'm a gamer. Angry
You're
Birds
a huge gamer.
Journey. Angry Birds.
Oh my gosh.
The game on the app. And then Journey, like the band. Don't stop believing. New Angry Birds game.
Dude, I love Angry Birds. I love pulling back the bird and shooting it and destroying things. It's so much fun. It's like, I like to imagine that I'm pulling the bird back and shooting it through the gap in Richard's teeth and just hitting him in the back of the throat. And I'm doing it all for Samantha.
All new Angry Birds Journey, full of fun puzzles, challenging levels, and delightful destruction. It's available for free in the app and Play Store. Trust me, this is a 5 Cosmo experience. Angry Birds Journey mobile puzzle game is going to bring you hours of fun.
Huge 5 Cosmo experience. Go get it for free. Google Play Store and the App Store.
If you're ready to be more productive and efficient in your mornings, listen up. Stop wasting time scrolling through endless articles online or getting lost in your email inbox trying to keep up with the day's news. Instead, listen to all the news you need in just about 10 minutes a day with the Newsworthy Podcast. Not only are we fast, we also focus on staying fair and factual. So if you want to be informed, not influenced, The Newsworthy is here for you. And because we cover a wide variety of stories, from politics to tech to even entertainment, it's not just the doom and gloom stuff. Never feel uninformed, overwhelmed, or annoyed by the news again. Listen to one of the fastest growing daily news podcasts recommended by the likes of Harper's Bazaar and Podcast Magazine. In fact, Fast Company called The Newsworthy 10 minutes of well-spent listening and said the tone is fair, effortless, friendly, and trustworthy. Simply search for The Newsworthy in your podcast app right now to subscribe and listen for free. Search for The Newsworthy to get fast, fair, fun news of the day with The Newsworthy.
And
we're back. Glimmer of, and just like that, there's a glimmer of hope.
A glimmer
of hope. One day, if your love dies,
you too can be.
I mean, I guess that happens to everybody.
Was that the title of this episode? Glimmer of Hope?
No,
it was called Sex and the Widow.
Sex and the Widow. Yeah.
I feel like they used to have a writer at the New York Post working with them that just quit. No more puns in the titles anymore.
I'm not anti that title. Sex and the Widow.
What died? Besides Big.
Long
time
ago.
Well,
Sex Lives.
It's about Carrie. It's about Carrie being a widow and
she's back
going out to have sex. Well,
yeah,
going
she's
out to
back
date.
to her Carrie Bradshaw way. She's writing books. She's going on dates. She's doing auctions.
What is something that? What's like? You're good at puns. I feel like Corey, you could come up with a better title for this.
I mean, if you
with Sex and the Sex in the. I don't know.
I mean, I think I was going to say sex in the window because she was in a window at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. Sex.
Kevin's not pleased with that one.
You're not pleased with that. I mean, like if you look at the fact that, like, did it go across any of the other storylines? It was Carrie.
It feels to me like usually there's like a double entendre, and that just seems like half of an entendre. That's like, well, the show's called Sex in the City.
What if it was sets?
But it's not Sex in the
What
City.
if it was sets in the window because they played tennis? So sets, or they called it like mixed doubles or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, what does sets in the window mean?
It means there's a window.
What does sets in the window mean without sex in the window?
It's just about tennis, man. It's just the whole thing's about tennis. Tennis was a big part of this episode. Okay.
What about
it was a huge part of this
a very
episode.
big part of the episode.
This is now a tennis podcast.
It is.
Love.
Game,
set, match. Love.
Yeah.
Fucking.
It was just called Breakpoint. Yeah.
Over the line.
Djokovic.
Yep.
Don't take the vaccine. I'm just kidding.
Get held up.
Is Djokovic still in is he still in a detainee camp?
He won his court thing.
It's not a detainee camp. He was in a camp where it was a lot of the people he was with were they refugees?
Were widows.
They were widows. Sorry, we have really diverted from this podcast.
But I just wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed with the title.
Yeah,
whatever.
I do feel like it is I was going to compare it to X in the City from Sex and the City, but that's a little more punny.
Yeah.
Isn't there another Sex and the? I'm going to look that up. There's got to be another Sex and the.
All right, I'm starting with the summary here. So actually, a year's passed in this episode. Right? Because we see all the seasons from her window.
Yeah, I think it's been a year.
It starts out as spring,
and then it start as spring and then and go all the way to the next spring.
I think so.
That's an interesting take. I took it as just like a particularly like crazy week of seasons, but it's interesting.
The leaves come, the leaves fall, the snow comes, and then
I just felt like Monday was like, oh, it's warm, and then it's like, whoa. It's windy, and then it snowed, and then it's back to. So it's like
a New York climate change.
But
winter.
she also wrote an entire book.
She's a prolific writer. She can do that in 4 days, especially if the weather's fucked up.
Yeah, she can't go outside.
If there's bad weather. There's no alternate side parking for her to move her car.
Yeah,
totally.
She could just sit in there and grind.
What if we had the writer on and they explained it to us the seasons again? We're like, interesting. Yeah, I still think it's 4 days.
I still think it was only a couple of days. Well, here's the thing: she didn't move.
Yeah.
Wait, you're telling me Carrie Bradshaw sat in a chair for 1 year?
No, let me ask you, because this is your first time writing for television. Were you planning whenever you got this job to put Carrie in a catheter the entire time for just a year? Okay.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense because in the last episode she peed in the bed.
That's true.
So I understand the catheter choice now.
All leading up to that.
Now explain, how does the chair work? Because I understand how pee works, but what about poop? Oh, okay. Sorry, that's too much. She just had her fucking puking the entire episode. Sorry that I bring up her fucking.
You're so gross,
her
Kevin.
diarrhea chair, and all of a sudden, you, the writer of this episode.
I'm sorry, Michael Patrick King.
Yeah.
Didn't Marina Abramovich do The Artist is Present? Didn't she poop in that chair?
I thought that she just held it.
For like 12. I thought she sat in the chair for like 12 hours every day.
Dude, I don't
thought she
even
went
poop
home.
every 3 days.
I'm just saying, but she had to.
We're so different.
Okay. We got to get off poop. I'm sorry for bringing it up.
I know we do have to get off.
Anyway, The Artist is Present. It's a great documentary.
Sex in the shitto.
Sex in the
it.
shitter.
She has to go
Okay.
to the bathroom in the chair because she sits there for a
the
year.
next scene after
We
her
got it.
sitting in her poop chair, they play tennis. Charlotte does
in all white, brave.
Okay. Here's what they did the montage so poorly in this scene.
Oh, that was a montage.
It was absolutely a montage.
Wait, so they're
Barely crossing the line of a montage.
They attempted a montage.
Yeah.
And montage needs to tell a story. There was no story here.
I agree that there was no story.
Oh,
There was no drama.
I
in the
fucking
montage.
love a montage. It's one of my favorite things, and they just desecrated it.
Well, that was what's is Eye of the Tiger from Rocky?
Yeah,
From
it
Rocky,
is.
isn't it? So that was a Rocky montage song. So they
is.
really teed that up.
Why wouldn't you show Charlotte earlier in the season pick up tennis?
Yeah.
And then she's better than her husband by the end.
Yeah.
There was no story in this montage, and there was no
There could have been like a montage where she's inviting all of her friends to tennis and she's whooping everyone's ass. And it's just like she's getting better.
Was she good in tennis against Trey? She played with the family then.
I wonder if Trey's the one that got her into tennis.
Trey definitely got it. I don't know. I know
feel
there's
like
a scene where
Charlotte had
Trey's serving up serves with his shirt off, looking
Yeah.
freaking bonerific.
Smoking hot.
But I agree with you, because it was kind of like this is what Sex and the City is so fucking good at.
Yeah.
The second that music came on, I was like, bold choice, super sick.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Because also they were like, watch out, the person in front is pretty good. And then, but it's like way older ladies. So like, of course, LTW and Charlotte are going to roast them. I thought it was going to be comedic how bad they beat them because they're older ladies.
I was thinking the older women were going to beat them. Exactly. I was like, that's what happens is that you do this montage and then they get smoked by these
Do you
older
think they
ladies.
showed it just to show how well LTW and Charlotte were able to work together to give some credence to the fight that Harry and Charlotte had on the court?
Possibly. I am wondering why they even had them. I guess the reason because I thought this when we were watching, I was like, okay, why was that scene in there? Well, I guess that scene was in there so that then Harry would be like, you never asked me to play tennis.
Yeah.
It was all to get Harry on the court, to get them to that fight.
And to
Yeah.
show that Charlotte and LTW are, which can make sense, that it's like, oh, you get along better with your friend than your husband.
Yeah.
Right.
Which makes sense. But a montage also, I feel like, usually incorporates like other locations or
Yeah.
other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it would show like other people and what their journey is.
100%.
Yeah. But you could also have a montage, like in a joke way. You could have a montage of like a kid like taking a test and like showing
Sure.
how intense it is.
Yeah, but how much better would this have been if it was like you cut to you have like Charlotte like doing her thing, right? And then you have the sex scene with like Steve and Miranda, and then he just like all of a sudden he just like starts training and he just starts doing like finger workouts, you know, like he's like lifting weights with his finger, and then he's like spitting on his hands to like lube him up. And he's just in Philadelphia running up and down stairs. Just
No. He's built the Philadelphia stairs and he's running them down with his fingers. He's like he's got two little shoes on his fingers.
He's got a
running
tech
up and
deck
down.
and he's just doing kickflips with it.
on just a fingerboard.
and then all of a sudden he comes in and Miranda's sitting there just like
What are you doing?
studying for a test. And then all of a sudden he just
He rips off his jeans and he's got basketball shorts underneath.
Yes. Oh, dude. And then back to Charlotte playing tennis with the old people.
Mm-hmm.
And then back over to Steve. Ready right now?
Sweat.
Just about to go fingers
Wet.
in and then ready to go in, and it's too dry. It doesn't. He can't.
Oh gosh.
I'll clean up the Chinese food.
What was the?
And then the second half of the scene is him finding the lid for the appropriate Chinese leftovers.
Jeez.
I guess all that training didn't really help. I guess
I got
It's him destroying the mini Philadelphia stairs that he ran up his face.
I mean, Rocky dies at the end of Rocky. So just like Steve's fingers.
I didn't know that. I never saw Rocky.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Great movie.
Like Rocky Balboa?
Oh, he didn't die. He loses.
Yeah. I was like, what?
I was like,
I'm familiar with the Rocky movies.
I don't know if that happened.
I guess it would be tough to make Rocky 2 and 3 and 4 if he died.
All right.
I was thinking of Terminator.
The next scene is they're at the farmer's market, which it had like some Park Slope vibes.
It did.
Yeah,
it wasn't the. For some reason, I keep thinking Fort Greene, but it wasn't the Fort Greene Farmers Market.
I wonder where they filmed it. Was it Park Slope?
No, but I mean, there's one in Dumbo. There's in Dumbo, but
and
Fort Greene.
Miranda meets Nia Wallace's husband, Dr. Nia Wallace's husband. His name is Rashad.
I think I'm not sure.
Super cool.
Super cool.
Wins the award. Yeah, for the best looking dude.
Yeah. Most
and
stylish
then
guy.
He goes and gets some tasty cheese, and Steve just freaking Magoo stumbles on, bumps into someone.
Yeah.
He's fired up about going to the wrong place.
Can't hear anything. Left his wallet.
They're doing Steve so dirty.
I was thinking this. I was like, they were like, he was like, what's some training? Like, where's this character going? And they just got him to sit down and watch like 4 hours of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Like, it's just Steve being like, where's my damn wallet? Hey, who is this?
Where are tomatoes at?
Where are tomatoes?
Where the damn tomatoes at?
Miranda, put on a mask. Like, get a booster. Okay? Come on, Miranda. We got to fight this thing. Come on, Miranda. It's like, we're out here. We got like working people out here. And like, it's like, you got to do this for your country, Miranda.
You got to admit that's pretty amazing. You're 50% Steve and 50% fucking Joe
listening
Biden.
to the podcast right now and applaud how great that was.
That is like that's like a voice, but it's like a face filter of like Joe Biden and Steve
Oh my
for the voice.
gosh.
It's Steve deep faking Joe Biden.
They're just that was impressive.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had a buddy that was a zombie.
I felt good about it.
And he was a stuntman, and he was a zombie in a movie, and they like made him watch like zombie training school before he was in the movie. And I'm definitely imagine they made Steve watch either Joe Biden clips or what's Mr. Bean, the guy that's just like,
oh yeah,
like his character is so.
I don't like.
Was he always like this? Is this the exaggerated version of Steve that we knew in Sex and the City?
As I was watching, I was like, maybe they have been like, Steve has gotten old and lost his mojo. He still looks cool. He looked cool.
He looks amazing.
I bet it's just that it's an all-female writing staff now, and they've all been married now. So there's just they're all just like our fucking dumb husbands.
Exactly.
There's probably. I could understand why Steve would be upset if he didn't know where the heirloom tomato stand was and was walking around looking for Miranda.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
it was weird. It was odd. It was odd, especially like we haven't seen Steve in a while, and especially like that big cut article that I posted that was like Steve deserves better, which we've been kind of like every good article that everyone's sharing. I feel like our take on the podcast was like pretty solid before.
Maybe they're just listening to our pod and writing articles.
Some of them are.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it's kind of an obvious thing. Mm-hmm. And then for everyone to kind of be prepped for Steve to be somewhat back and then see that was jarring.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally. It was also just the way that after he left, he's like, oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to get out of the way. We gotta stop using fossil fuels, Hey, come on, we gotta focus on green energy. It's like, we're here, and we're back in the Paris Climate Accord. This is what we needed all along, right? Everybody, give it for Kamala, But like,
give her a damn heirloom.
These guys are using solar panels here to change the farming of the country. That's what we got to do.
But the fact that Miranda eye rolls him so hard in front of Nia Wallace. After Nia Wallace's husband is just like amazing. Yeah. I do think the kiss was a hair over the top. I got to be honest. I think I know.
Wait, let's finish.
Yeah.
Before we dig,
maybe that's just me.
Who kissed?
Oh, Nia Wallace and her husband's kiss. It's a TV show. You gotta give a big ridiculous.
And I
kiss.
think they were using that to show to like rub it in Miranda's face a little bit. Not that they intentionally did it, but Miranda needed to see real passion.
I don't really like to kiss women. I like to rub their shoulders and smell their hair. That's kind of more my thing, Miranda. It's not weird. We're married.
Okay. Carrie's back at her editor.
Are we off Steve Miranda?
No, we don't have to be.
Because I do feel like we didn't cover the most important Steve Miranda scene.
What's that?
Steve Brady finger warning. Miranda, should I get some lube?
We got to talk about that scene.
Wait, will you play that again?
Okay, one more time. We're about to get into it, but you should know you're about to get a...
Steve Brady finger warning. Miranda, should I get some lube?
It's true.
Oh man,
we got to keep the chase soundboards off the chase.
It's gone everywhere now.
It's
infected. Chase soundboard has changed everything.
It has changed everything. Jay played that for Miranda when they were in the hotel. She was like, "Hey, Miranda, listen to this," and then it was just like, "No, I'm goofing on your husband. Hey, man, comedy has no boundaries, Miranda.
I checked that box.
Check that box.
All right, let me go through everything here.
Okay. Oh yeah, we're still on the. We're still.
Carrie's back at her editor. I guess that's her editor. Who first told her that her book was a little bit depressing, but wrote an epilogue in which Carrie's going to go on a date, and everyone loves it so much that Oprah is going to put it in her book club.
The Popra?
The Popra.
Whoa.
Next, we have a chat and chew with Seema. Seema randomly at the chat and chew, where Carrie says she needs to start going on some more dates. Seema has already set up Carrie's dating profile for her and been swiping.
A little sneaky there.
Well, Seema Swiper.
Yeah, she wouldn't be on Tinder. There's
the next thing we have is the double scene. LTW, her husbands, Harry and Charlotte, which started out really cheesy, but I think ended well with the finale of them at the benefit, seeing the other couple fight.
Yeah.
I thought surprisingly for how cringy that story was at first, I think it came together pretty well.
Yeah.
Next, Miranda sends the text to LTW or Nia Wallace while they're driving, and spoils the period.
Yeah.
And they almost run over a toddler and just kind of make really light of that, in my opinion.
It was there was like a couple levels of satire going on there that I was like, there was a few things happening.
Next, we have the mansplainer fight with Charlotte, where she says mansplaining, I think like 4 or 5 times in a single sentence. Steve and Miranda do finger kitchens.
Yeah, we'll get to that again.
And then we have the auction, which is the finale. There's Harry and Charlotte are still kind of debating over saying sorry. We have the couple fight with LTW and her husband, Peter, who I guess I forgot to write it down. Carrie goes out with Peter and they throw up all over the place.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they go to
And then Peter is back at the auction, and Anthony bangs or gets a blowjob from a cater waiter.
I think it was a hand job
from cater waiter. Peter bids on Carrie again, and Miranda. It ends with Miranda and Che having some hot sex.
Yep, in the hotel.
Where are we at?
Yeah, so much happened. Can we start with Carrie first?
Yeah.
Let's start with Carrie.
I feel like let's start with Carrie first, because I feel like listen, I like the season. I can't for the life of me understand why this is not episode 3. Carrie's storyline.
Yeah.
It is baffling to me because this just makes you can do everything else. But it's like this is the first time that Carrie is in Sex and the Maybe that's why it's called Sex and the Widow. But it's like, then why is it not episode 3? Because Carrie's storyline was fucking sick.
Yeah, I agree.
It was good.
And
it felt like a Sex and the City storyline kind of.
Yeah. And even it made like, she made the fucking the book agent some of the best casting in the series.
Yeah. Book agent was so good. That actress was great.
So good, so true to like the character, so funny, so sensible. Carrie has a mission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it was hilarious to watch her projectile vomit because you're already in the world that you're used to. That's like, yeah, Carrie Bradshaw was talking about how crazy her dating life is, and she's fucking back to level 1.
How good did it feel when they were like super awkward at their table, and then they both come kicking out of the door like drunk laughing? You're just so like,
funny.
Oh, they had a good time.
So good.
It was really nice.
Yeah,
I totally agree with you. I think this should have been moved way up. I think they should have taken an episode to say goodbye to Big. And then I think they should have done the season change to show time has passed. And then they should have gotten into Carrie exploring what life is like after Big.
Because I just don't see what you lose. I wonder if you're afraid that it's too soon for the viewers to get used to like her husband just died. But if you do the seasons,
do a montage.
What are we watching?
You could splice that montage with Charlotte picking up tennis, learning tennis and all the seasons, getting coached. Maybe getting a little crush on her tennis coach.
Whoa.
Yeah,
she already cheated with a tennis coach.
No, that was the gardener.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. There was tennis on premises.
And her losing at first, hitting balls out of like one of those like soft pitch, slow machines.
And Carrie was on the podcast when she was still a good writer. This is a reminder that you're like, listen, Carrie Bradshaw just fucking banged out an opus that someone's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You realize how good your book has to be for Oprah to give a fuck about it?
Yeah.
This is going to be her shout out RIP Joan Didion. She just died. But she like was a great writer, but then her husband died and then her daughter died.
Her daughter did die, yeah.
Yeah, and then she wrote
very soon after her husband died.
Yeah, and then she wrote her best book ever.
Yeah.
It's called Year of Magical Thinking.
Yeah.
It's very good. But that's a New Yorker. That just seems to me like I didn't realize Carrie Bradshaw was fucking even interesting anymore until this, because she's a writer.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything that you're saying.
Okay.
I kind of feel like we've said this before, but it's like they were doing all this table setting of bringing in this new world, but it took a couple of episodes. And I agree. I think it could have happened earlier. And it also would have been nice if there would have been a thing where someone pulled her aside and said, hey, look, your husband died. You're on this podcast, but like, you're a writer. You're kind of almost like either you're phoning it in or you're playing it too safe. Like, listen, don't let this podcast, like, take time off or start waking up early and writing, or just start writing again. But it just kind of felt like she just sort of.
That was Che lighting up a bong right after.
Che lighting up a bong.
She's a good writer.
That was a good bong sound.
Thanks, dude.
You had water?
I had water, yeah.
I was like, I was trying to do the water. How'd you do that?
You know that
you're right though.
That was Che telling her.
That was a
smoke weed every day. You just got Che.
Oh my gosh!
I didn't know if we wanted to blow the soundboard so early this episode. We'll have to revisit those.
Oh my gosh.
That's all we got tonight. But.
Smoke weed every day.
Smoke weed every day.
You said Che. I could hear your voice.
It was me.
That's so funny.
It was me in my kitchen just singing Che.
That is so fucking funny.
Oh,
listen, we can't. Everyone already hates Che on the internet, and I hope
I don't need to spend any time on Che this episode.
We don't have to, except that I want to say that there is so little besides the cheating with Miranda that why does she have to do with Carrie's storyline? She stole away. I don't mind the cheesy sex thing, like that actually.
Like Che?
Yeah, the fingering thing at least has added to like the drama of the storytelling.
Yes.
Yeah. She stole away Carrie's storyline. Why is she on a fucking podcast? Sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Che has stolen the character of Che has stolen Carrie's storyline away in a way that is, to me, the most disappointing part of the show. And I like the show. Mm-hmm. And this proved it to me because this storyline felt so good that fucking Carrie Bradshaw is back.
Well, we could divert now and just cover Che since we're on.
Sure.
Since we're on Che.
Yeah.
There was a moment this time where, Che shows up at the auction and everyone's like, oh, wow.
Crushes the set.
Che Diaz, next stand-up set or stand-up show should be called Pillows for Che Diaz's soft comedy. But
I will say, pro to the show for saying comedy concert because they were all old, and then young people said comedy special.
That's true.
We walked into that because this was proven that shows they're out of touch.
Yeah, that was actually
so that I have to say shout out.
We stepped into that trap for sure.
And ouch, it hurt.
for real.
Ow.
You got us.
But there is a moment that I don't know if it's coming, and we talked about it last episode. I agree that Che has stolen some of Carrie's story and season, but there is a moment where Che is starting to feel maybe like the heel of Che is going to show even more.
Yeah.
The Miranda thing where Che was like, well, why didn't you DM me again?
Mm-hmm.
And then saying like, here's what I want to do to you. And then they're in a hotel room and then Che saying, I'm just really good at sex. Also, Che once again brings up that it's just the weed.
Yeah,
Che's like, oh, also though, this was crazy when Miranda was like, yeah, well, you didn't message me back, and Che was like, I've done so much weed.
I've done so much weed.
I've done so much weed. Che's like such a lame stoner.
I don't remember 3 hours. I've done so much weed.
But it's like maybe
when you do weed.
I know. It's like I was like, is Che a narc?
That'd be so funny.
It'd be so funny if it was all fake weed and Che was a narc.
Yeah.
They're just smoking.
This is CBD.
Cilantro.
This doesn't even have THC in it. What? I can't even fucking think.
I can't think anymore. Hey, I gotta go. I'm gonna go hang out with these high school kids.
DM'd someone else.
Arrest them.
But don't you like? I'm cool with Che being in Miranda's storyline. It just. There's no reason writing wise why you couldn't be like, where does this character come from?
Yeah.
It could come from anywhere.
Yeah.
How about being a fucking Columbia student who's starting to do stand up or meet through Nia Wallace?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? Like, why did you start with the premise that Carrie Bradshaw has to be on a podcast, which we all knew was going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then it makes no sense.
Yeah. I agree. There is definitely no. I don't.
You don't have to apologize. The only person that needs to apologize in this episode is Charlotte. Okay, you don't need to apologize.
I just don't want to be negative about it. I want to be like, this was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Remembering that Carrie Bradshaw is like one of the great writers of the day.
Yeah.
Oprah's saying your book is the shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when she goes to LA and they're like, we want to make a movie out of your book in Sex and the City.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're there now.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah. So no, sorry. Why do I need to say sorry?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and we had fun watching the episodes when they came out. The first episodes 2 through 6.
Yeah.
Had some good time. And we're I think what you're saying is we're at a good spot with Carrie where she's becoming like her story is no longer about Che and being on a podcast. It's about the things that make Carrie Carrie.
Yeah.
It's like watching this, honestly, the positive way to put it, which is how I really feel, is like, it's like you're watching the sequel to Batman when that comes out, and Robert Pattinson is probably going to like, you see the car and you're like, fuck, it's Batman.
Yeah.
Or like Superman is like, you're like, this is Carrie Bradshaw. And we saw it with her house and all this stuff, but I think this isn't her shoes or her apartment. It's like her true superpower, which is her being a writer.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I think was really exhilarating.
What was there was no narrate. I also really miss the narration.
I do too.
Her narrating the story. I think it's like we've talked about in previous pods. It's made other characters interesting, like Nia Wallace and LTW and stuff like that. But I still wish the Carrie Bradshaw narration was in there. It makes it, I don't know.
Because you get it right at the end now with the and just like that.
Yeah.
But that kind of reminds you of, oh man.
Gives you just a little tickle.
Yeah.
Just a little Steve finger of what it could have been. we talked about tennis. We didn't talk about Harry and Charlotte on the tennis court playing LTW. Their fight, her explaining to Harry that he mansplains the rules sometimes.
Yeah, I thought that was
a little heavy-handed.
I just censored myself. I'm gonna uncensor and just say I thought that was stupid. I just and I'm gonna mansplain to both of you. Why?
Well, it was offensive to me because that's literally the premise of our entire podcast.
Exactly. Our whole thing
you basically just called Kevin stupid.
Interesting. No,
I'm just mansplaining to you how you are an idiot. No, I don't know why that annoyed me so much. I think it annoyed me because, well, in the end, it wrapped up like you said, where it was, these are these marital fights that it becomes, at some point, it becomes not even about the actual moment. It's just Harry being like, well, you've said you're sorry to a million other people.
Yeah, exactly.
The mansplaining thing, I think the reason it annoyed me, but maybe this actually is good, maybe it's good writing, because I don't really think Harry, if we had seen a pattern of like, if she had said, Harry, you do it all the time. We were in Fairway the other day and you mansplained to me what quinoa was. We were at dinner and you did this, but I was like, you were playing tennis together. He told you to get a shot. Like,
which was clearly her responsibility. If you watch the shot, it was on her. It was on her court of the
court. You got to call your shots when you're playing doubles, and you got to cover your calls.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've never played doubles before, but I know that.
I played doubles in pickleball over the Christmas break, and you got to call your shots.
Did you cover your calls?
I did cover my calls.
That's right.
I mean, you don't cover your calls. You say to your partner, sorry, that was mine.
Yeah.
So the mansplaining thing, it just felt, it could have been happening, but it felt like a way to get the term in that, like, Harry, you're mansplaining to me. And I wish that if they were going to do that, it would have been great to show where Harry does that.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah, I agree with you, because I feel like you do it on the court, you say it, and then you do it at a party. Because the most offensive version of mansplaining, everyone listen, ladies, no, I'm kidding. But it's like, but it wouldn't be during... it wouldn't necessarily be during a high sporting event. Like the times where it's cringy to see is like someone at a party, a girl just being like, I thought like this movie was really good. And then a guy being like, well, did you want, like, interrupting?
Yeah.
And it's like kind of or on a date or something. But when sports are involved, it's like, it just doesn't ring to me as the same type of mansplaining that really deserves high level criticism and cringe. So that's where I thought the conversation was going to start there. He wasn't going to know that he did it. And then he does it 4 more times.
Yes.
And then it didn't pay off because I was like, and they had a lot of opportunities to do that. Or even in a previous episode for him to be like, she's actually great at art. We have this one. And she's like, I've got this, Harry.
Yeah,
yes.
You didn't even say the right artist, but it seems kind of like you're saying out of nowhere.
And actually, they did that with Miranda's drinking so much. That would have been a great thing to pay off Harry doing this over and over. And then him like stepping over Charlotte in the school meeting to be like, honey, actually, let me take this, like that kind of thing.
Because that is, it had meat, but it didn't. It had potential, but it was like poorly executed.
Man,
I feel like.
Imagine writing a TV show and then just being like, now 3 guys are going to tear it apart.
3 assholes are just going to listen.
Mansplain.
At least we're fucking watching it. Emily Newsombaum just tweeted from the New Yorker, was just like, I'm not even fucking watching it anymore.
Did she really say that?
Yeah, she's like, I'm done with it. She just turned it off.
Emily, come on the pod.
Yeah,
come on the pod.
We love you. You wrote an incredible article about Sex and the City, which and we love that.
Come on, Bomb.
Come on, Bomb. All right.
No,
what about Bomb?
I think I was annoyed with it until I saw LTW and her husband fighting.
Yes.
Herbert, is that his name? I think
George Washington.
It's George Washington.
My dick is upside down. When I saw them fighting at the gala, I was like, okay, I get it now. I like it.
I actually, and Kevin and I, we've hosted a couple of those galas before.
Yeah.
We've hosted a couple of big money galas that we didn't,
Big Money Cavin, that's your nickname.
Big Money Cavin, everybody knows that. And
big sweater, big money.
Big sweater, big money, high temperature, very hot. But I thought the gag of LTW holding her mic down was really funny because I've watched people do that when they're hosting a thing.
What do you mean?
Honey, you're killing me. You got to put it back up there.
How much is
honey?
If you guys
Sweetheart.
auction? If
Baby.
you do an auction,
There we go.
you guys pay $1,000. We'll come over and we'll have
Sweetheart.
a podcast at your
Thank you.
apartment if you so choose.
Baby. I thought that played off really well.
Yeah.
That actually felt like a nice Sex and the City kind of storyline.
Totally.
Up right there, you know?
And then we had Nia Wallace and her husband with their failed pregnancy.
I gotta say, sorry to interrupt you and mansplain.
Don't mansplain. Don't mansplain your feelings to me.
You're right.
I'll tell you. I'll mansplain you. No, what's up?
I'll mansplain him right back. I gotta say, I said this a couple episodes ago where I was like, I'm noticing that, we're suddenly following these new characters into places. And I was like, it's different, but it's a new show. I like it now.
Totally.
I love following Nia Wallace and her husband.
Yeah.
I think they're great.
They're awesome.
Yeah. And I am like invested in their storyline now.
Plus, he can pick out some cheese.
Yeah, that was some good cheese.
Some nice cheese.
Dude, that's the trick. All you have to do is cast like two of the coolest, most attractive people ever.
Exactly.
And wow, they make some compelling television.
It's true. They're like both fantastic actors. They're gorgeous. They're so stylish.
Get these fucking people off my show, and then I see them naked. I'm like, what else is there? Last week I subscribed to their OnlyFans, and now I'm like, ooh, I'll watch them at the fucking farmer's market.
Dude, that is. Do you think? No, never mind. I was like, what if a show just made an OnlyFans for two characters?
Yeah. What if they did?
Yeah, I don't know. For a second, I was like, that'd be crazy marketing, and maybe, but I'm like, no, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be brilliant.
Well, it would also be pornographic.
That's true. I was like, I'm sure that the show has done that in the pornography industry.
Do you all? I want to talk about Steve real quick. No, sorry, Peter, Pumpkin Eater.
Peter, Pussy
Oh
Eater.
yeah.
He's Mr.
If
Pussy.
he goes down on her, we gotta call him Peter.
Pussy Eater.
Is pussy too gross?
It is.
No, there's an episode called Mr. Pussy.
Oh yeah.
If someone's listening to this podcast, they've literally watched Mr. Pussy lick his lips while looking at the girls.
Well, that's become my signature move whenever I.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm kidding. I would never do that. That's disgusting.
I like.
It's disgusting and a sin.
Is Peter the glasses chewer? Oh, by the way, the scene where Seema says, I put you on Tinder or whatever. One of our podcast listeners is in the background of that.
What?
Oh, yeah.
She messaged on Instagram.
Shout out to Joanna
fuck. We'll find her name real quick. But yeah, she was a.
Also, I don't know if she wants it, but yeah.
Oh, maybe she doesn't. She's a background in that, and we were like, hey, what happened? And I think she said. Seema's bag came with its own security guard, which that bag is pretty nuts.
That's insane.
But I wonder if it's like a vintage bag that costs, thousands and thousands of dollars.
That's amazing.
Pretty wild.
That's insane.
Yeah, Joanna Maharaj. Sorry.
I like how you're like, I don't know if she wants her name, and then you looked it up just to pronounce it correctly. Sorry.
Well, I think she's an actress.
Okay.
Or else she's doing that. Whatever.
Get it out there.
Shout out to her.
Hire her for a job.
Fucking follow her. And she said, I was really close to them, and Seema's bag came with its own security.
That's
we didn't
awesome.
Really know what the episode was about. So when Carrie says she's going on a date, I wanted to scream, what happened to Big?
Oh my gosh.
They have wrapped for this season, but hopefully it gets renewed and I get to work again. Yes, you fucking will.
Yes.
That's
good
awesome.
Vibes, Joanna. We love you.
We love you, Joanna.
She's been a listener for a long time.
So that's where we meet Peter.
Pussy Eater.
Peter, exactly.
Peter Glasses Eater. This episode. Peter Pussy Eater. Next episode. Peter Ass Eater. Final episode.
This he was Peter Pukey. Puker, Peter Pukey.
Peter Pukey Eater.
Yeah. All right. Let's say his wife died. He's not ready. He probably drank too much, so he didn't have to go home with her, so he could get out of it because he wanted to have sex with her. But he's like, I need a way out of this because I don't want to think about my wife.
Right.
They're gonna go out again. He won the auction, $10.50.
Yep.
Huge. As a teacher, as a New York City teacher who's not making. Is he the teacher at the school?
If he's a math teacher in New York, he wants to go on that fucking date.
He's doing the math about how much money she has.
Yeah.
He's like, you were married to Mr. Big?
Yeah.
Because Mr. Big was probably a well-known financier, right?
Yeah.
Like if you Googled,
he was like in
if
the
you
paper.
Googled Carrie Bradshaw and you saw who she was married to, you can do the math that she's got 3 commas.
He was like Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
Carrie was married to Peter Thiel. He's the head of what is he? The head?
PayPal.
Yeah, the head of PayPal.
Thiel Capital.
Yeah, Thiel
that
Capital.
guy, Peter is definitely a math guy. He's like,
I bet you could if he does some like tutoring on the side for some, I don't know. He's not rich, that's for sure.
he doesn't.
He takes out his own trash at best in his own brownstone. At best, that guy's taking out his own trash. He's maybe taking out other people's. Maybe he's like working a second job as the super of the building.
I think he's probably roommates with Carrie's book agent, to be honest.
I know that's what it is.
What do we have? This is episode 8?
7, I think.
I think it's 7. Yeah.
6. This is episode 6.
No, it's not.
It's
Diwali
7.
6.
It's 7. Diwali 6.
This is episode 7. That's what I said.
So how many?
Diwali 6.
I really don't think we would have the appetite for just a string. This guy's so great. It's interesting that what are they going to do in the next few?
How many episodes are left?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that he's got to be.
Aiden? Is Aiden coming?
No,
I think that
he's married.
I think maybe she's going to kiss this dude. I don't know if he's our new Mr. Big. I think he's just like Mr. Now.
But don't you think like I feel like
Mr. Trig.
Mr. Trig.
Mr. Trig.
Mr. Trig. That's what we got. We got to make some Mr. Trig memes now. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Well, I guess that right now there's been an orgasm in the show, but there's literally for a show about older women, like there's not a single scene of celebratory sex.
I know. And I today I was like, oh, cool. Harry and Charlotte are they're gonna play tennis. Yeah. I was like, I wanted them to bang it out.
Harry's gonna be a little bitch. You knocked me over. Say sorry.
Say sorry.
Say sorry.
Like, I feel like that's such like a softball that I hope, especially based on what she said, I would hope that maybe instead of her going out with like 3 other randos, it'd be cool if they work it out and like have decent sex. Not because I'm like, they need to have sex, but what would you do if you're older? If you're older and you're dating, I just feel like that's like needed in the show to be like, cool, when you're old, it's not just like, oh, you cheat and you have your dick won't work and your pussy's dry and you're sad and that's the end of your life. Like there needs to be like.
Isn't that what happens though?
Maybe.
Dude, people at nursing homes spread STDs like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
They are fucking. Okay? And
that's what those 2 ladies did after they lost that tennis match.
They
just went back to that nursing home since they were so old and they just got destroyed in tennis by 2 younger women.
Also, based on some of our Instagram responses from our listeners, a lot of whom are the same age as this, are like, we've gotten messages that it's like, that have normal sex lives.
Yeah.
And there's not a single representation of a normal sex life. Even Harry just being like, or her apologizing and just be like, I'm not going to say sorry now. Maybe I will let, have a fucking twinkle in his eye.
I would even like to see the Steve and Miranda scene, which, there's more going on there than just them being sexually compatible. But I would even just like to see a scene of like Harry and Charlotte. And he's just like, it doesn't work. And then they have a scene where they talk about it. And he's just like, I'm sorry. I'm tired. Like whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just nowhere. Seema is not even out doing anything.
We need some fucking.
I mean, maybe
Seema
is. We're just not showing
Think
it.
Peter's the guy?
I hope Peter becomes Mr.
Trig.
Mr. Trig.
Trig.
Mr. Trig. Yeah. Oh man. Gotta get another.
What if he just writes 80085 on his calculator and holds it up and it says boobs?
I love that.
And then he just
but then Carrie just like rips her shirt off and is like, I know exactly what you're talking
raises his
about.
eyebrows up
I had
and down.
a TI-83.
Yeah.
Now get inside TI-80 me.
Oh!
Dang.
Oh man.
All right, we need to wrap it up.
I was trying to think of another thing.
Let's
trying to think of other.
Trying to think of other. What's the square root of jizz? That's all I got.
Let's rate the episode. I got mine. I'm gonna give this one a 3.0. I liked a lot of it. I liked how it wrapped up. The gala was fun with everyone at the end. I really liked that Che didn't smoke in this episode, which was really nice for the first time ever.
Mostly. To, they were high.
Forgot to, because she's been doing a lot of...
They.
I'm sorry.
They are a poorly written character.
Oh, God.
I'm embarrassed.
We're doing our best.
No, you're fine. Yeah.
But overall, I had fun watching this episode.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go up from what I had and give it a 2.5. I think Kevin's thing from earlier stands, that when you talk about it with people and you see things that make it better. There were things that really annoyed me about it when I watched it, and I think, but mostly not even the annoyance thing. I felt like it was kind of spread a little all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And they got everybody in, but it just felt all over the place. But now talking about it, it's a couple things came together. So I'm going up to a 2.5. I'll go up to 2.75. I think I enjoyed it even more than I'm letting on. Great realistic puking scene. If you're going to do a puke scene, you got to do it realistically. Great realistic puking scene. And they went to Au Cheval, which is a great new restaurant in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Go there. Don't throw up, though.
I'm giving it a 3.5.
Ooh.
And I'm giving it a 3.5 because these episodes are longer than most Sex and the City episodes. If I've only followed Carrie Bradshaw in this episode, I think that I think that this was Carrie's strongest episode, and I thought that it was funny. The puking thing was like, I think, a very cool Sarah Jessica Parker thing for her to make like a bold Carrie Bradshaw move, and be like, no, let's do it real. Like, let's really go hard. And that was a surprising moment. Mm-hmm. The side character of the book agent is like what Sex and the City is the greatest at. Just like a fucking character actor who just knocks it out of the park.
Yep.
That person should be in next season of Hacks or something. Some HBO show. That character was so fucking awesome. Yeah. And I think that on the strength of that, and I feel like we're primed for a really, really, really amazing next 3 episodes.
I agree.
I really do.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch the last 3.
Yeah. I think that we're in the best situation we've ever been in the series so far. So
yeah. Pump is primed.
All right.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you so much. Everyone. Thanks for listening. Go give us a review on Spotify.
If it's
iTunes.
5 stars, compliments only. All right, we have fucking fragile egos, okay? So listen, if you don't like it, just delete us from your podcast feed.
It's not that hard.
Okay?
Check out our Patreon. We got tons of great stuff. We're going to record a Patreon episode tonight. It's going to go up there. It's going to be awesome.
And then, and we'll see you later, taters.
Later, taters.
Later, taters.
Later, taters.
Later, taters.
Later, taters.
The Bradshaw Boys stars Cory Cavin, Jon Sieber, and Kevin James Doyle. The show is produced by Jeremy L. Balon. For more information on the guys, check out their website at bradshawboys.com, on social media at The Bradshaw Boys. And if you see them in the street, tip your glass. Thanks for listening.